walking away with absolutely nothing. Every last asset went straight to my ex-wife. The moment those divorce papers are stamped at the Civil Affairs Bureau, Liu Nhyn slides a bank card right in front of me. Child support will be wired to you every single month. Her voice is completely casual, like we are just discussing the weather. I do not even bother looking up. I just lightly flick my finger, and the card slides right back, hitting the cuff of her ridiculously expensive silk shirt. I tell her no need. I am leaving empty-handed, and I will handle all of my son's expenses myself. The air instantly grows heavy. For the very first time, pure shock flashes right across Liu Nhyn's usually calm, completely unbothered eyes as she stares at me. She probably fully expected me to act absolutely pathetic. Maybe beg and fight for just a little more cash for the sake of our boy. After all, I'm just a stay-at-home husband who relied entirely on her for 7 long years. Totally cut off from society, zero income. Leaving with nothing is basically choosing total ruin. Even the clerk standing right there, waiting to process our paperwork, literally cannot help but look up and stare at me. That look in his eyes clearly screams, has this guy actually lost his mind from the shock? Liu Nhyn slightly furrows her brow, showing just a tiny hint of hidden frustration. KBCT, she warns. Stop being so stubborn. You have zero job, how will you even feed him? I just replied that it is my business. I stand straight up, folding my copy of the divorce agreement, and shove it into my old, worn-out canvas bag. From this moment on, you and I do not owe each other a single thing. Director Liu, I say, taking my son Ho by the hand, keeping my back perfectly straight as we walk out the gate. The sunlight outside is blindingly bright behind me, and still feel her heavy, calculating stare burning into my back. Only BT Hong is there to pick me up, and he instantly starts scolding me like crazy. KBCT, is your brain completely broken? Walking away with nothing? Do you actually think you are some kind of merciful saint, saving the world? But just think about that for a second. That jerk, Liu Nhyn, had an affair. She ruined everything. So why refuse a single dime? Ho needs school, doctors, food, and clothes. All of that costs money. Are you planning to feed him cold air and hope for the best? Ho sits safely in his car seat in the back, playing with his toys, totally ignoring our talk. I just lean into the passenger seat, closing my tired eyes. BT Hong's sheer anger hits me like a bunch of sharp knives. You still have feelings for that woman, do you not? You just cannot bear to see her lose anything. Wake up. She already brought that pretty boy home, messing around right on the exact same bed you used to sleep in. What is there left to hold on to? My chest physically aches. The memory of that one rainy night suddenly comes crashing right back into my mind. My son had a terrible fever, and Liu Nhyn was completely unreachable. I drove through the pouring rain, desperately rushing my kid to the emergency room. Halfway there, I suddenly realized I forgot his medical records, so I quickly spun the car around. The villa is fully lit up. Right at the door, a shiny pair of men's dress shoes and Liu Nhyn's high heels are kicked off, tangled together. Through the slightly open master bedroom door, I hear heavy breathing and teasing whispers that instantly make my stomach turn. Nhyn, the guy asks, when are you finally going to kick that pathetic freeloader out? What is the rush? Let him raise Ho a bit longer. Divorcing now means dragging out a messy asset fight, and that is just too annoying. You are way too soft. He is just a useless guy living off you. He has absolutely no right to your money. Ho is your kid too. Why worry? Just toss him some child support and kick him out. Alright, keep it down, babe. She says he could never understand things like you do. I stand there in that freezing hallway, holding my fiercely burning, feverish son. I just listened to my own wife and some random guy completely humiliate me. A totally useless freeloader. Cold rainwater drips from my hair, sliding right down my face, completely soaking my thin shirt until it freezes against my skin. My boy groans in his sleep. Dad, I'm cold. In that exact second, my heart turns far colder than my soaked clothes, freezing completely solid. There is no dramatic scene where I kick down the door or scream my lungs out. I just quietly hold my boy, turn around, and drive straight to the hospital. Only after he is finally settled with his 4 drip, do I stumble into the hospital bathroom, bending over and dry heaving until my stomach is entirely empty. From that day on, the KBCT, who only ever saw Liu Nhyn, who gladly threw away his whole career for his family, was completely gone forever. The man left behind now holds onto one single thought. I have to leave, and I will absolutely make Liu Nhyn pay the highest possible price. Walk away with nothing? Hey, BT home. I open my eyes, watching the scenery speed past the car window like a fast-forwarded movie, keeping my voice totally calm. It is not about not needing money, I just utterly hate her filthy cash. BT home freezes, then gets even madder. Filthy or not, you still take it, man. What did the money do wrong? You just scrub it clean and spend it anyway. You want to act all noble, fine. But what about HOHO? Are you really going to let that poor kid starve on thin air? I turn my head, giving him a pretty faint smile, but my eyes are sharper than ever. Just wait for it. Rest assured, HOHO is not going to starve. Every single dime that belongs to Leo NHYN. I will take it all back my own way, and I will take double. Frozen stiff by my intensely cold glare, BT Hong just opens his mouth, finally muttering, "You are crazy. I think you have actually lost your mind this time." He drives me to the tiny one-room apartment I rented, even helping me carry my 2 pitifully small suitcases up the stairs. The place is incredibly cramped, peeling paint, totally worn-out furniture, and a faint musty smell hanging in the air. Compared to Liu NHYN's massive luxury villa, this dump is worse than a maid's room. BCT, are you seriously planning to stay here? Why do you not just crash at my place for a while? BT Hong looks around, his face completely filled with worry. No need for that, I tell him. This place is fine. I gently lay HOHO down on this tiny, shaky bed. It is pretty cheap and quiet, right near a kindergarten. The most important thing is that Liu NHYN and YTNH cannot find us here. BT Hong lets out a sigh, pressing a bank card right into my hand. He says he has not saved much these past few years, but I should take it for now. As for a job, he promises to keep an eye out. But since I have been out of work for 7 whole years, it might be tough. I thank him and accept the card. A true friend. I tell him not to worry about the job search. After seeing him out, I drop into the only sturdy chair left. Looking around this cramped little apartment, I see HOHO fast asleep, his cheeks flushed from the heat. I grab my phone and open up a locked photo album. And let me tell you, this is definitely not filled with sweet memories. Just photos and screenshots showing Liu NHYN and YTNH getting pretty intimate on several different occasions. I actually hired someone to take a few of them. Others were just YTNH being completely smug, posting on his alternate account until I stumbled onto it. The album also holds a few voice recordings, like him asking NHYN to fix up a project for his cousin. Just $3 million for startup costs, he says, telling her to make the documents look nice and pretty. She promises to pitch it at next week's meeting. Then she calls him darling, asking to swipe his card for a brand new, hard-to-find designer watch. He tells NHYN that I might have figured something out because of how I looked at him. She just brushes it off. What could a mere househusband possibly do? If he makes a scene, just kick him out, she says. Liu NHYN sounds so cold it sends chills right down my spine. The woman I loved for 10 years. In her cold eyes, I am nothing more than useless trash to her. A tiny bump in the road that she could just kick away at any moment. I turn off my phone and walk over to the window. Neon city lights flicker in the distance, barely even lighting up this tight little room. Liu NHYN, YTNH. This game has only just begun. Leaving empty-handed comes with a pretty huge price. My account only has the 20,000 BT Home gave me, plus a little hidden cash, making it less than 50,000 total. After putting down a 3-month deposit for rent, paying for summer school, and buying a few basic essentials, that money just drains away like water. I absolutely have to find a job as soon as possible. But reality delivers a rather painful slap to the face. That 7-year gap leaves my resume completely sinking into total silence. I do not even get interview chances for the slightly better positions. The only places willing to take me are hiring cargo sorters and simple restaurant servers. Those are all high-intensity, low-paying jobs that make picking up HOHO impossible. After half a month of running around, I finally land a basic office temp job at a small foreign trade company. The salary is $3,500, working from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., with 1 day off and occasional overtime. Raising my son on this income in a city with skyrocketing prices is incredibly tight. Every single day feels exactly like fighting a brutal war. I have to get up at 6 a.m. to make breakfast, drop the boy off at kindergarten, and then squeeze onto the subway for over an hour. The office work is trivial, but keeps me insanely busy. Making copies, running errands, ordering lunches, cleaning, and sorting an endless mountain of paperwork. The old computer runs like a turtle, and my manager constantly picks on me. My coworkers are mostly young girls, And seeing an older guy bringing his kid around earns me looks filled with a mix of pity and pure contempt. After work, I battle the crowds to pick up HOHO, usually getting home near 8. I rush to cook dinner, play with him a bit, and put him to sleep before I can finally fire up the computer for side jobs. I pick up some freelance translation gigs, paid by the word. This keeps me up until 1 or 2 a.m., living every day in a state of absolute exhaustion. Whenever I check the financial news, I keep seeing Liu Nhyn. Her company just scored a huge project, driving up their valuation by billions, making her look absolutely untouchable. Or I end up scrolling past Tang on social media. The guy desperately wants the whole world to know he finally made it to the top. He posts pictures of brand new supercars, luxury watches, and check-ins at high-end private clubs or overseas resorts. His captions always say things like, thanking the light of his life for letting him meet the most amazing woman, tagging Liu Nhyn right there, with tons of flattering comments below about how perfectly they match and how spoiled she is. It is so incredibly sickening to look at. One time, I take HOHO out to an amusement park, and we actually bump right into Liu Nhyn and Tang. HOHO spots his mom and points excitedly, telling me to look. He breaks free from my hand and flies toward her like a happy little bird. Liu Nhyn sees us, and the tension just spikes. She instantly frowns, her eyes showing clear annoyance and total disgust without hiding a single thing. She grabs HOHO as he lunges in. Her movements are totally stiff, acting like she is dealing with some distant, unfamiliar relative rather than her own kid. Tang stands right beside her, decked out in the newest designer clothes and a watch worth tens of millions, looking ridiculously flashy. He looks down at me, sporting the smirk of a winner mixed with a little fake pity. Well, Kay, he says, did HOHO come out to play? He mocks that a place like this suits the two of us perfectly, keeping us close to normal life. Then he wraps his arm around her. Let's go, Nu Yen. The reservation at that 3-star Michelin place I booked is coming right up. Nu Yen just gives a flat yes. Nu Yen reaches right into her expensive purse and pulls out a few hundred yuan bills. She shoves the cash into Hao's hands. Go buy some toys, she says. Without a single glance my way, she wraps her arm tight around Tang and walks off. Hao just stands there holding the money. The happy little smile completely vanishes from his face. His big round eyes well up with tears as he watches his mom and that rich guy disappear into the distance, completely confused and heartbroken. The poor kid has absolutely no idea why his own mother doesn't want us anymore. Right then, my chest feels like it's being hacked apart by a dull, rusty blade over and over again. And it's not even because of Nu Yen being so ridiculously cold. It's because my son is hurting. I crouch down, pulling Hao into a massive hug, fighting as hard as I can to swallow back my own tears. Be a good boy, Hao. Mom is just busy with work. Dad will play with you. I'll buy you the biggest transformer robot out there. How does that sound? Hao buries his little face right into my neck. His shoulders shake as he whispers out, okay, I only need you, Dad. Watching the silhouettes of Nu Yen and Tang vanish into the crowd, the very last shred of warmth inside my chest goes completely dead. And in its place, just a freezing, quiet sort of hatred starting to burn deep down. Nu Yen, Tang, enjoy your glorious life right now, because your fall is going to be devastating. Time just drags on after that. Days blur into a non-stop cycle of crazy work and just gritting my teeth to survive. During the day, I am the quiet, hard-working office drone just grinding away at the company. By night, I am a single dad, staying up insanely late doing translation gigs, hustling for every extra dime. Then on weekends, I take Hao to check out all the free parks and public libraries. Life is pretty rough right now, but slowly a tiny little apartment actually starts feeling like a real, warm home for the two of us. I stitch together some cheap fabric scraps to make decent curtains and tablecloths, and even rescue a few discarded pots to grow some nice green plants. Hao is growing up fast, barely even mentioning his mom anymore. And honestly, watch how things shift right here. A senior guy at my company suddenly quits out of nowhere. The department head notices I'm pretty reliable and know a little English, so he actually lets me take a shot at handling some of the basic orders. The pay bump is a measly 500 yuan, but finally getting my hands on the core business, that opens up a whole new world of possibilities. I dive in like a completely dry sponge, soaking up every scrap of knowledge, product specs, Pricing tactics, negotiation strategies. When everyone else clocks out and goes home, I'm still at my desk organizing files. While they enjoy their lazy weekends, I'm stuck at home crushing industry reports and breaking down competitor data. Then, a golden opportunity drops. The company is desperate to lock down this Northern European client. But these guys are ridiculously demanding and squeezing the price down to nothing. Round after round of negotiations completely hit a brick wall, giving the big boss a massive headache. I dig deep, pulling up every single public document and carefully analyzing their entire purchase history. Turns out, they are almost obsessively focused on environmental impact and sustainable development. And luckily for us, that just happens to be the biggest selling point of our brand new product. Our previous pitches only hammered on the cheap price, completely ignoring this green angle. So, I stay awake for 2 straight nights, totally ripping apart and rewriting the entire proposal. The main play isn't dropping the price anymore. Instead, I use hard data to prove our product flawlessly aligns with their green philosophy. I show them how, long term, it actually saves them serious cash while massively boosting their brand image. I nervously slide the finished plan right onto the boss's desk. He reads it, sitting in total silence for 30 seconds. Finally, he looks up. "Key back dat. I didn't realize you actually had this kind of talent." In the end, the company actually rolls with my strategy. We shift our entire approach, and after a few intense rounds of back and forth, we finally lock down that impossible client. Sure, I was just the grunt worker executing the play, and the big bosses took the main credit. But the way the CEO looks at me now, completely different vibe. He moves me out of the grunt squad, promoting me straight to sales assistant, and my pay officially jumps up to 5,000 yuan. But the really huge win here, I finally get my hands on the company's deeper core network, and some incredibly valuable inside resources. Then, at a pretty low-key industry networking party, I actually end up bumping into Lam Huvai. She was my senior back in college and the debate team captain. Even back then, she was this total superstar, rich family, wildly talented, and she flew straight overseas to study the second she graduated. Everyone says her career is just absolutely exploding these days. Honestly, she hasn't changed all that much. She's just got this calmer, way sharper aura now, rocking a perfectly tailored dark suit. She somehow still manages to completely steal the spotlight in a crowded room. She actually spots me first, her eyes going wide as she asks "Key back dat, is that really you?" I freeze up, suddenly feeling incredibly small in this cheap, last-minute discount suit standing right in front of her. "Hey there, Lam, it's been a really long time." She just looks at me, zero judgment in her eyes, only a genuine, soft concern. "I heard you got married," she says. "How is life treating you these days?" I try my hardest to force a smile, keeping my voice super casual. "Divorced, actually, raising my kid completely solo, and just starting over from scratch." A quick flash of understanding hits her eyes, mixed with this tiny hint of quiet pity. She doesn't push for details at all, just quietly hands me her business card. "I just launched a boutique investment firm," she says. "If you ever need a hand, come find me. We're old friends, so don't be a stranger." I take the premium card. Right on the front, it reads, Koi Min Capital, Lam Hu Vai. Right then, a bold new idea quietly starts taking root. But I don't reach out to her just yet. Because let's be real here, I've got absolutely zero leverage right now. I need to build up my own capital and wait for the absolute perfect strike zone. So the daily grind keeps pushing forward. But slowly, actually lock down my footing at the company, jumping from assistant to junior sales rep, and pulling in over 7,000 a month. With my extra income from freelance translation, me is still a bit tight. But at least I don't have to worry about HOHO's milk and school fees anymore. I finally moved out of that cramped 1-bedroom rental and upgraded to a 2-bedroom apartment with a nice little balcony. HOHO got his own room. He is absolutely thrilled. News about Liu Nhyn and YTNH still manages to catch my eye every now and then. But get this, over on the financial networks, her company is soaring incredibly high, with its valuation skyrocketing way up. Meanwhile, all over the tabloids and social media pages, YTNH acts exactly like a flashy trophy man standing behind a highly successful businesswoman, constantly showing off his incredibly luxurious lifestyle and how much Liu Nhyn completely spoils him. The more glorious they look, the tighter the tension builds inside me. I know very well that Liu Nhyn's many layers of greed and her rapidly inflating ego are the absolute perfect catalysts. Here, and finally, my own quiet little investment is starting to show some real, tangible signs of paying off. First up is Ying-then's own younger cousin. The guy he cleverly slipped into her company as the deputy purchasing manager just ran into a truly massive problem during a major material procurement project. The materials were terrible quality, and the prices got hugely inflated, causing a severe issue with the whole batch. Clients demanded compensation, hitting the company with a pretty heavy financial loss. Liu Nhin flew into a total rage. No hesitation, she immediately ordered a full investigation. In the end, all the hard evidence pointed straight to Ying-then's cousin. Ying ran around begging for mercy, waiting outside her office all afternoon, claiming his cousin was just young and tricked, and that he himself knew absolutely nothing about it. Eventually saving his face, Liu Nhin didn't call the cops, just firing the cousin and recovering a small part of the loss. But this whole mess planted a very sharp thorn for the management and all the shareholders. Her perfect image as a supportive partner took a really serious hit from this. And honestly, that was just the appetizer. You know what's next? The main course hits 1 month later. Liu Nhin's company is bidding on a truly massive government-led construction project. This is a highly strategic deal. Winning it would push the company to entirely new heights. Liu Nhin goes all in, pouring an insane amount of manpower and resources into it. Just right before the actual bidding starts, a rival company suddenly drops a highly detailed technical plan alongside a full price analysis. That analysis? A direct hit on their weakness. It exposes huge cost and technical loopholes in Liu Nhin's plan, completely leaking their confidential info, which leads to a crushing failure where all their hard work washes right down the drain. The company's reputation takes a massive beating, and the stock price absolutely plummets. Liu Nhin is furiously raging, immediately ordering a hunt for the mole. Following the trail, every single clue slowly points right back to Ying-th. Someone anonymously reports seeing Ying-th secretly meeting up with a female director from the rival company several times right during this highly sensitive period. Then someone else provides security footage clearly showing Ying-th using a former employee's access card to sneak straight into the confidential document archive room right in the dead of night. Ying-th panics. He runs to Liu Nhin, crying out loud. He begs her to believe him, swearing he could never, ever betray her. He cries that everything he has comes from her, so how could he hurt her? Liu Nhin just keeps an icy face, her stare completely cold and distant. She demands to know how he explains the camera footage, and exactly why he was meeting privately with Miss Ving. Ying-th nervously stammers out that he only wanted to gather some inside info for her, and he merely found the access card, wandering in out of pure curiosity. An absolutely pathetic, weak excuse. Right at that very moment, Liu Nhin's assistant walks in, face completely pale, handing her a thick stack of documents. The tech department just managed to recover deleted messages from Director Y's personal email account, and asks her to please take a careful look. Liu Nhin opens it, her pupils shrinking in shock. It is an email Ying-th sent to an anonymous overseas account just a few short days before the bidding. The attachment is gone, deleted, but the message clearly states the documents are sent, asking them to please transfer the remaining balance exactly as agreed. Attached right alongside that is his offshore bank account information. A quick preliminary check actually confirms this specific account has some very shady ties to Ying-th's extended family. The hard evidence is absolutely undeniable right now. Smack! A heavy slap lands straight on Ying-th's face. Yeah, he earned that. Liu Nhin trembles with pure rage, eyes red, screaming at him to get out. She yells at him to leave immediately, threatening that if he ever shows his face again, she will definitely lock him in prison forever. Ying-th holds his cheek in a daze, staring at her in total disbelief, trying to rush forward to explain before two tattooed guards physically toss him outside. His pathetic, desperate wailing echoes loudly all down the entire hallway. Liu Nhin slumps back heavily into her director's chair, burying her face in her hands, looking absolutely exhausted and completely hopeless. Total disaster. Company secrets leaked. The core project totally ruined, and stocks taking a massive nosedive. Shareholders start hunting for someone to blame. Banks aggressively demand their money back, and the fire spreads straight to her own backyard. And the main cause is the one man she trusted most delivering a fatal stab to her back. Facing pressure from all sides, her supposedly unbreakable castle is finally starting to crumble. The massive crisis at Liu Nhyin's company is basically a snowball rolling entirely out of control. Just the beginning. The information leak that lost them the bid was really just the initial spark. Not long after that, the tax authorities unexpectedly show up for a surprise inspection. Right after that, the media actively reports that one of her company's major real estate projects has been exposed with massive safety risks, strictly forcing them to completely halt all construction for mandatory fixes demanded by the authorities. Cash flow suddenly tightens up. The shareholders panic, racing to sell off everything while the stock price takes an absolute nosedive. Banks smell the risk right away, instantly restricting credit and even demanding their old loans back. When the wall falls, everyone pushes. Lu Nhyin runs around in a complete frenzy, desperately trying to raise capital and save herself. But right at that crucial moment, her company gets hit with a massive credit rating downgrade. Old partners avoid her like the plague. Now, those fancy mansions and supercars she loved showing off are totally locked down by the banks. Director Lu, woman who used to walk in pure glory, falls right to the brink of bankruptcy in just a few months, liquidating everything she owns. Now, pay close attention here. While she panics, I just wait quietly in the shadows like a patient spider, slowly pulling my net tighter and tighter. Lam Hu Vai calls me at that exact perfect time. Her voice comes through the phone, steady as always. Lu Nhyin's company won't survive the month. The banks gave their final deadline. She is dumping all her real estate and shares right now, hoping to salvage something. I simply agree. My heart beats nice and steady, strangely calm as Lam Hu Vai asks if I am ready. I just stare at my computer screen. Inside a secret overseas bank account sits an endless string of numbers. That is the beautiful result of 3 long years of hard work, moving quietly like an ant gathering food. I used all kinds of legal channels to slowly collect and transfer funds out little by little. The source of it all? Lu Nhyin's fortune, of course, which I cleverly broke down into tiny grains of sand before and after our divorce. Things like those high-value retirement insurance packages we bought that barely drew any attention. During the marriage, I used complex financial tricks to withdraw capital or convert mortgages into cash, alongside a few small houses she gifted me and completely forgot about. I secretly mortgaged them when housing prices spiked, trading that capital into high-risk projects that actually had plenty of profit potential. Then there was that high-limit credit card she gave me for convenience while I stayed home to watch our kid. Once Wai Tang then appeared, I barely touched it. She forgot to lock the card and never checked those monthly statements. Every month, that card made fixed payments into ghost companies under my name, disguised as high-end family consulting, personal nutrition services, and all that stuff. All of that cash eventually flowed right back into my own secret account. That is not all. To avoid taxes, her company once moved profits to overseas affiliates under the guise of consulting fees. By pure coincidence, I managed to gain control of one of those companies. That exact fund easily became my personal backup capital too. Every single move was hidden and scattered, like tiny little streams blending into the massive ocean of her wealth without causing a single ripple. Combine that with me refusing my share of assets during the divorce and playing the poor single father. Nobody suspected the guy leaving empty-handed held the ultimate trump card to destroy her entire empire. I am fully ready now. I answer her calmly. Lam Hu Vai decisively agrees. She will use Koi Min Capital to step in and buy up all those core assets and shares being dumped. Just stick to the plan. I thank my senior, but she refuses the praise. Kai back dat, she says. You earned this through your own careful scheming. I'm honestly just the person building the bridge for you here. Lam Hu Vai pauses. Voice softening is how well? He is great, I reply, thanking her. Hanging up, I walk to the window as light rain falls. 3 years of endurance and countless sleepless nights planning, it is finally time to harvest. Lu Nhyin, your sweet karma has finally arrived. Lu Nhyin's bankruptcy and liquidation notice hits the financial front page. The former business queen crumbles in a single instant. Villas, supercars, and jewelry under her name all get seized for auction. When the wall falls, everyone pushes, and her whole crowd scatters. After that document leak, Wai Tang then completely vanishes without a single trace. Get this. Rumor has it he swiped whatever cash and jewelry remained in her safe, fleeing overseas to some completely unknown location. Before leaving, he posted one single status visible only to her. Sorry Nhyin, but I really need the money to start over, so just forget about me. Lu Nhyin is left empty-handed, drowning in massive debt. She lives in a dark, damp room in the city slums now, taking on random odd jobs just to scrape by each day. Once proud as a queen, she now has no makeup and zero glory left. Wearing a cheap, faded shirt with sunken eyes, she looks incredibly pathetic. Meanwhile, with Lam Hu Vai supporting me, I successfully bought up all the core technology, patents, brand value, and the highest quality real estate from Lu Nu Yen's company at absolutely rock bottom prices. Koi Min Capital becomes the biggest winner overall, while Lam Hu Vai instantly makes a massive name for herself in the investment world. But naturally, the true ultimate winner here is me. Right on top of the ruins of that once mighty commercial empire, Kai Bak Dat, have finally built a kingdom of my very own. I moved out of that cramped two-room apartment, taking Hao Hao with me straight into a massive luxury penthouse right in the city center. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the city lights up like absolute magic. Hao Hao gets his own private Lego room now, plus a dedicated nanny taking care of everything. I stepped up as a full partner at Koi Min Capital. Lam Hu Vai treats me with absolute respect, giving me real power and a voice. Life has completely flipped around. Then, on one heavily rainy afternoon, the doorbell rings. The nanny goes to open it, asking in total shock, "Who are you looking for?" I'm just sitting on the living room rug, building puzzles with Hao Hao. I look up, and the person standing at the door is Lu Nu Yen. She looks incredibly thin, cheeks totally hollowed out. That once perfectly styled hair, now just a messy, tangled wreck on her shoulders. Her cheap coat is half soaked from the freezing rain, completely covered in mud, while her hands awkwardly clutch a plastic bag holding a few wrinkled apples. She just stands there, staring blankly into my bright, spacious new apartment. She takes in the elegant decor, then looks at me in my soft loungewear. I look healthy, glowing, with absolutely zero trace of that old misery on my face. Her eyes are this wild mix of pure shock, utter disbelief, and a completely overwhelming sense of deep, agonizing regret. Bak Dat. Her voice sounds incredibly hoarse, like a totally broken bellows. The second Hao Hao spots her, he shrinks right into my arms, whispering the word mom. But in that tiny voice, there is only distance and a hint of genuine fear. Lu Nu Yen's gaze falls straight onto her son. Her lips tremble, her eyes instantly going red. How, she says, practically desperate to step forward. I stand up, calmly shielding Hao Hao, staring at her without a single trace of emotion. "What do you want?" My absolutely freezing stare makes Lu Nu Yen flinch in panic, and she awkwardly shifts her weight on the brightly polished hallway floor. Rainwater drips heavily from her pants down to the floor, leaving these dark, muddy streaks that look completely and utterly out of place in this perfectly refined, elegant space. She swallows hard, with obvious difficulty, then awkwardly and incredibly humbly pushes that cheap plastic bag forward toward me. I passed a fruit stand, saw nice apples, bought a few for Hao Hao. Her voice sounds completely dry. The nanny stands right beside us, eyes fully guarded, mixed with a tiny, barely hidden hint of pure contempt. I do not even touch that bag of apples. I just casually reply, Hao Hao eats organic fruit now, with a private nutritionist planning his meals. Take it back. Lu Nu Yen's hand completely freezes right in midair. The plastic bag makes a quiet rustling sound. Her face turns paper white as she pulls her hand back, the apples drooping by her side. She looks at me with entirely empty eyes, totally choking up. Bak Dat, I know I wronged you. Wrong Hao Hao, am a terrible, worthless person. It is in the past, I interrupt her, my tone absolutely flat. It cannot just pass, Bak Dat. I cannot move past it. Lu Nu Yen's emotions suddenly explode into frantic desperation. She takes a desperate step forward, dragging even more rain and mud across the pristine floor. I regret it every single day. Regret being so totally blind. Regret letting that absolute scumbag trick my mind. Regret treating you so terribly. And deeply regret losing Hao Hao forever. Bak Dat, I was wrong. I was really wrong. Please, I am begging you. Just give me one more chance. Can we please start all over again? I swear I will spend the rest of my life making it up to you. And Hao Hao. Tears mix right in with the rainwater streaming down her face, looking completely miserable and pathetic, begging for my forgiveness. Now, hear me out. If I saw her like this 3 years ago, maybe my heart would have softened and ached. But today, there is nothing left inside me but pure ice. Start over, repeat, the corners of my mouth actually curling up into this faint, completely sarcastic smile. Lu Nu Yen, do you honestly think that is even possible? I look straight at her, pronouncing every single word clearly. Did you forget? During the divorce, you yourself called me a useless stay-at-home husband who could never make waves, and told me to get out. You were the exact same person hugging Wei Tang Than so tightly, mocking me for taking Hao to completely average places. All while you demanded 3-star Michelin restaurants, right? When Hao was crying for his mother, where were you? Buying designer watches for Wei Tang Than, or whispering in his ear that this useless man right here did not even deserve a single cent of your money? Lu Nu Yen completely freezes under my questioning, her face as white as a sheet, her entire body shaking. Back then, Lu Nu Yen stammers. I cut her off again, my voice not loud, but absolutely firm and undeniable. Spilled water cannot be gathered, a shattered mirror cannot be fixed. We ended a long time ago. From the exact second you betrayed me and Hao, everything was totally over. I raise my hand and point straight toward the door. This is our home, you are not welcome here. Please leave. The very last spark of hope in Lu Yen's eyes completely flickers out, as total despair swallows her up like a massive tidal wave. She just stares right at me. You can almost see it click, like she finally recognizes the man standing in front of her. The husband who used to depend on her completely has transformed into someone entirely new. Her lips tremble, and finally, she hoarsely forces out the one terrifying question that has been eating away at her mind for endless days and nights. Did you know about it early on? Did you leave empty-handed on purpose? Everything that happened to the company, step by step, was that all you? She doesn't even finish, but the deeply terrified, panicked look in her eyes says absolutely everything. I do not deny it, nor do I admit it. I just lift my head, flashing a brutally cold smile, the exact kind of smile forged on the ruthless corporate battlefield. Lu Nu Yen, the business world is exactly like a battlefield, where tactics mean everything. You were the exact person who taught me that years ago, and you taught me one golden rule: never, ever place your own destiny in the hands of someone else's fragile pity. I pause for a quick second, my tone completely casual. Does anything else really matter now? What matters is that absolutely everything you used to own now legally and rightfully belongs to me and Hao, including every single thing you were once so incredibly proud of. Liu Nhyn, absolutely struck by lightning. She staggers back heavily, leaning against the freezing doorframe just to keep herself from collapsing. Her eyes lock onto mine, filled with pure panic, utter despair, and this deep, bone-chilling fear. Her very last illusion completely shatters. She lost, and she lost hard. Not to some bitter enemy, and not because she was betrayed. She lost to the exact person she never even bothered to respect. Looking at it fairly now, the ex-husband she thought she could just control and toss away like trash. He beat her so badly, she has zero chance to turn things around. She turns around, looking like an entirely empty shell, her footsteps stumbling as she fades right into the cold, wet hallway outside. Her lonely figure walking away looks incredibly tragic and pitiful. I shut the door, blocking out all that cold and dampness, and turn back to hold Ho tight. Dad, what is wrong with Mom? Ho asks so softly. I bend down, kissing his cheek with a gentle but very firm voice. Your mom went down the wrong path, and she just cannot return. Then what about us? I hug my boy, walking over to the large window to watch the city after the storm. Sunlight breaks through the clouds, lighting up the entire room beautifully. Our path is moving forward, right? Then the doorbell rings, and the nanny steps up to open it, calling out super respectfully, Miss Elm, you are here. Elm Huvai walks right in. She is wearing this perfectly tailored gray coat, standing tall and holding an exquisite little cake box. A warm smile completely lights up her face, and her eyes immediately land right on me and Ho. I promised Ho strawberry cake, and I would never break a promise. She gives the box a playful shake. Ho instantly wiggles out of my arms, cheering happily and running straight over to her. Aunt Elm. Elm Huvai bends down to scoop Ho up, smiling so gently. She carries him over to me, standing right by my side at the huge floor-to-ceiling window, looking out at that bright city skyline together. The skyline is brightening up too, she murmurs softly. Her eyes rest on my face, shining with this really gentle, caring look. I just nod. My ex is not coming back. Elm Huvai stays quiet for a second. She looks toward where Liu Nhyn just vanished, a spot now totally filled with busy traffic. Do you still hate her? She asks. I let out a soft breath, staring at the brilliant sunshine outside. I used to hate her deeply, but now, I just pause. I look down at my innocent son, happily hugging Elm Huvai by the neck. Then I look at this strong, totally reliable woman beside me in our bright, hopeful apartment. You feel it too, right? Wasting any more time hating someone like that just is not worth it at all. Elnhuvi turns her head to look back at me, her eyes sparkling with soft light. BCT, have you ever thought about giving HOHO a completely full family? And giving yourself a fresh new beginning, too? HOHO hugs her neck tighter, his big round eyes darting back and forth between us, shining with pure curiosity. I freeze up for a second. A new beginning.